Hey guys, Dr. John Evans here with You Fix Pain. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to be talking today about mid-back pain. You're getting discomfort right up and through here at the base of your neck or in the middle of your back. This is the video for you. We're going to go over some common beliefs of where that pain's coming from and actually some uncommon beliefs and actually where it is coming from. So I get a lot of people that come through the office, and even my wife recently that was struggling with this type of pain, and she woke up one morning and she's getting a ton of pain back and through here. And believe it or not, the most amount of pain actually stimulates, or it doesn't stimulate, it comes from this part of your neck. So there's these different facet joints. Your spine sits on top of itself like this, and you have these vertebrae that they'll stick out in the back and then out on the sides. And what happens is these little facet joints, when they rotate, they get inflamed. So right in through here. So whenever you rotate your head to one side or the other, you can feel this catching pain, and it actually refers down into the middle of your back. So just keep in mind, if you have pain between your shoulder blades or a little bit above that area, a lot of times it's actually coming from right in here. So what do you need to do about it? You need to loosen up the joints, loosen up the muscles, and get things moving. So I'm going to break this down into a 6-part series. We just went over the anatomy, and now we're going to start talking about the different types of treatment and the things that you can do to help improve your mid-back pain. So once again, that pain typically comes from right in this area, and so we need to loosen up this area to take away that pain in the back. Now, one of my favorite ways to do it is through a technique called total motion release. And what you're going to do is, so let's hypothetically say I have pain when I rotate my head to the left, or I feel like this referring pain down the middle of my back whenever I rotate my head to the left. It can also happen when you rotate your head to the other side, but it's typically worse on one side. So what I want you to do, this total motion release technique, is I want you to rotate your head side to side as far as you can go. And I want you to assess, hey, can I rotate more to the right or more to the left? I'm not looking for pain, I'm just looking for the amount of range of motion that you can achieve. So if you can rotate more to the right, then I want you to repeat that movement from a neutral position, facing like this, to the right 20 times. So you just go back and forth as far as you can, a nice quick motion. You're not trying to feel a big stretch, you're just trying to get those joints moving. Because as I said before, those facet joints are locked up and you got inflammation in between those vertebrae. So the more movement you get through that area, the better it's going to loosen up. It's going to draw in more fluid to those joints, and it acts like WD-40 on the joints, and so it just gets it moving. So after you do 20 repetitions to the side that you have the most motion in, then I want you to reassess to the other side and see if that motion has improved. So after you've done 20 here, now try going to the other side. Most of the time you're going to notice that your pain is actually improved and your range of motion is better. So then what do? You go right back to the other side again. So you're going to do 20 more from a neutral position all the way to the right as far as you can. Nice and quick. You're not trying to hold it. You just keep working through that 20 more times. Then reassess your motion to the other side again. Is it still improving? Great. If it's still improving, do another set. You keep doing this until you notice that, hey, it didn't really change my motion or my pain. So then we're going to take that stretch to the next level. So instead of going from a neutral position facing straight ahead, now I'm actually going to rotate my head as far as I can to the side where I have the most motion. And then I'm going to stay in that end range. And then I'm just going to rotate my head back and forth at end range 20 times. So once again, this shouldn't be causing pain. You shouldn't feel any sharp discomfort in the middle of your back or even in your neck. But what it's doing is it's mobilizing these joints that are referring that pain down in the middle of your back. I tell you guys, like a lot of people don't believe me that the pain's coming from this area, but as soon as you start loosening that up, it's going to make a world of difference in the middle of your back. So now with that second stage of that exercise, what I want you doing is you're doing 20 repetitions to the side, and then you're coming back and reassessing. Hey, is that motion better? Okay. If it is, same thing. You're going back to end range and you're just going back and forth doing that 20 times. Keep doing that exercise until you notice that there's no more improvement in your pain or your motion going to the other side. It's one of my favorite go-tos, first exercise you should do if you're having this pain in the middle of your back. The second thing that you should be doing is chin tucks. So chin tucks are also going to get these joints moving in our neck, and we can make it really simple or we can make it really complex. So we're going to start off with keeping things simple. So what I want you to do is sit upright and you're going to try to make a double chin. You're just going to tuck your chin down and back. Most people go like this. That's not what you want to do. Tuck your chin down and straight back. You're going to feel a tight pull in the base of your skull back here, but really, so it's good to loosen up that muscle, but really what we're trying to do is get those joints, those vertebrae moving back and forth to help increase that mobility in that joint and also draw in more fluid. So let's assume that your pain, once again, is more on the left side in the middle of your back between your shoulder blades. What I want you to do is I want you to go into that chin tuck position and see what you feel. Some people are going to feel just a pull back there. They're actually going to feel some pressure in their neck, or they're going to feel a pull between their shoulder blades. What I want you to do now is bend away from the side that's more painful and then chin tuck. And you're probably going to notice a little bit more discomfort or a bigger stretch with that. And what you're doing is when you tuck your chin in and you bend away, you're actually opening up that vertebrae, that facet joint that's nice and locked up. And so I want you to do that 20 to 30 times and then reassess your motion and your pain. I like to ask my patients, hey, how's your pain on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being the worst, 0 meaning no pain at all when you rotate your head side to side. If it's, say it's a 10, and then I do a couple of these, let's just call it a 9. Most people are not in a 10 out of 10 pain because you'd be in the emergency room. But let's say it's a 9, and then we do these exercises, and then we have them rotate again, and it's getting a little bit better. That's progress. So pay attention to that. We're not trying to fix or cure your pain with one movement, but we're trying to see if it's making a difference to your pain, and if it's progressing in the right direction, then we know we're doing the right stuff. So what I want you to do is these chin tucks with a side bend away from your pain. You just keep going back and forth to do 20 to 30 of these, and then reassess your motion, reassess your pain. Is it getting better? Great, keep doing them. Then if it doesn't change your pain, then we move on to the next one. So the next part of this series is we went over the anatomy, went over the joint limitations that can cause your pain. Now we're going to go over what you can do to loosen up your muscles. So the muscles, if they're really tight, can compress those joints even more, and so we want to loosen those up. So we decrease that friction, we decrease that irritation at that facet joint, and it's really a straightforward process. So most of the musculoskeletal issues that we have, if we decrease the friction in a joint, then you're going to notice a world of difference. So one of my favorite things to do to start loosening up muscles in a really simple way is actually bending the head away. So let's assume once again that the pain is going down in the middle of the back, but it's originating from the left side. Then I'm going to start stretching out these muscles to take pressure off this facet joint in my neck. So I'm going to hold on to the side of a chair, and I'm going to lean away from it, and then I'm actually going to bend my head away, and I can take my other hand and I can give it a nice tug. This should not cause any sharp pain. If I'm getting a locked up facet joint on my left side, do you think I'm going to want to pull to the side? Absolutely not. I want to be pulling away from it because I'm going to be opening up that joint. If I'm pulling towards it, we're going to be compressing that joint even more and irritating it even more. So holding on the side of a chair, on the involved side, pulling away, and you're going to notice when you pull away and you rotate up a little bit or you rotate down, you're going to feel a big stretch in this area. But if you're pulling down, you're going to feel pulling a little bit more in the back. And if you're pulling with your nose up, you're going to feel it pulling a little bit more here in the front in the scalenes. You hold that for about 20 to 30 seconds, relax, reassess your motion. See if you still get that sharp shooting pain down the middle of your back when you rotate, or if it's progressing and it's getting better. If so, do it again. And you keep doing that until you stop noticing improvement in that pain. Now, the next thing I want you to do is keep holding on to that side of that chair. And now you're going to pull away from the painful side down into your armpit. This is going to stretch out more of the back of your neck. And once again, we're trying to decrease pressure on those facet joints in your neck and improve your mobility. So when we're doing this stretch, we're going to hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. I'm holding onto this chair and I'm just pulling straight down into my armpit. And we're going to do that once again until we notice that there's no improvement in your mobility or your pain. So don't keep doing stuff if it's not working. So those are some really simple stretches that you can start off with if you have that mid-back pain. And now I want to talk over some other common factors that are involved with that mid-back pain and this facet syndrome. So sleeping posture is huge. We have a ton of people that wake up and their neck just feels locked up. And so most people also don't know that sleeping on your stomach, if you're having neck pain, is not a great position to be in, because what happens is say you're lying on your stomach and your face is pressed up against the covers and the mattress like this, guess what happens? It pushes your head back and it compresses this side of your neck. So if you're having a facet syndrome and you're really locked up here and you're getting that pain that's shooting down the middle of your back, the last thing you want to do is be lying in a position for 6 to 8 hours where that joint is just fully compressed. So what you want to do is either be lying on your side or on your back, particularly if you're getting this really bad facet syndrome that's referring down into the middle of your back. Now, the next thing that you want to do is if you're not sleeping on your stomach and you're sleeping on your side or your back, what you want to do is have a proper support in your pillow. You don't want to have too much, and you don't want to have too little. So even if I'm sitting upright and my posture sucks and I'm sitting like this and my head's falling forward, that's putting an abnormal amount of stress throughout my neck. And the same thing applies if you have a big pillow and you're lying on your back and your head's being pushed forward. That's going to compress these facet joints that can cause that pain down the middle of your back as well. Now, if you're lying on your side and say you don't have enough support, then guess what? You're also compressing this side and it's going to irritate those joints. Now, if you have too much support to the other side, then that's going to compress the joints on the other side. So just be aware of your posture when you're sleeping and how it can be involved with your neck pain. And the better fit you can get with a pillow and the better support you can have, it can make a world of difference. So we went over sleeping posture, we went over tightness in your muscles, we went over tightness in your joints and how to fix those. A really simple thing that a lot of people don't think about, actually they do think about, but I still think they just do a bad job because we're lazy in general. It's just sitting posture. So even here, my posture sucks, right? I'm just sitting here slumped over. But a really simple fix is just activating your low back muscles in your core and sitting up straight. And that's going to take a lot of pressure off that facet joint on your side. So be cognizant of that. Keep that in mind. Now, something else that you guys want to start working on is the strength of muscles between your shoulder blades and the back. Now, it's not necessarily about the strength of the muscles between the shoulder blades and your back. It's about the muscle activation and the ability for them to fire. So if I'm sitting upright, we all have muscles between our shoulder blades. There's no question of that. So it's not really necessarily a sign of weakness. It's just a sign of muscle firing and muscle firing patterns. So when we get used to this posture here, guess what muscles get used to being fired? These pec muscles in the front, these flexor muscles here in the front of the neck, and everything just gets more and more contracted. So how can we start waking up these muscles here in the back more? One, just by firing them and getting them used to being used again. And so one of my favorite things to do with patients is just sitting upright, pull that chin back in a little bit of a chin tuck position so you're in a nice neutral spine. And what you're going to do is you're just going to pinch those shoulder blades together in the back and then relax and exaggerate, rounding them out in the front, and then pinch them back together in the back, just going back and forth. You should not feel any pain in the middle of your back. You're literally just trying to wake up those muscles between your shoulder blades. It's not because they're weak, it's because they're not used to being fired a lot. And the more you wake up those muscles, the more likely they are to keep you upright and help you with posture without having to think about it. So I'll have people do this 20 to 30 times in a row all throughout the day, 5 to 6 times, just sitting there, waking up those shoulders, getting things moving. So keep those things in mind. One, understand that a lot of times that mid-back pain is coming from a facet syndrome here in the neck, just meaning the joints are getting irritated and they're inflamed, and so it's referring pain down in the middle of your back. You want to get those joints moving by doing that total motion release technique that we talked about earlier, going through those full ranges of motion, and it shouldn't be painful. It should make you feel better. You want to reduce the tightness in those muscles to take pressure off the joints themselves. And you also want to be paying attention to waking up those posture muscles in the middle of your back to help you with that proper posture. And then pay attention to your sleep. So are you sleeping on your stomach? Do you have a crappy pillow? All those are different factors that are going to be impacting your pain in the middle of your back and in your neck. The last piece is your diet. So if you're eating a lot of inflammatory foods and you already have a lot of pain, then should you be eating like a lot of gluten or carbs that people react to? Probably not. Now, everyone reacts to different things, so it's not like a one specific diet, but I highly recommend limiting processed foods when you're in a lot of pain because it tends to inflame things even more. So those are my 6 tidbits on how you can improve your